Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava 16b, starting with the words Rabbi Elazar Omer, top of the Amud. Rabbi Elazar says also the snake. By using the term also, Rabbi Elazar suggests he considers the snake to be forewarned to the same extent as the other animals in the Mishnah's list, which, according to his opinion, are not considered to be forewarned if they are domesticated. The Gemara asks, but didn't we learn in the Mishnah that Rabbi Elazar says when these animals are domesticated, they are not considered to be forewarned, but the snake is always considered forewarned? The Gemara answers, amend and teach the Brisa, saying that Rabbi Elazar says a snake instead of saying also a snake. Accordingly, the Brisa is teaching that he holds that only a snake is considered to be forewarned under all circumstances, because he holds that even if it is domesticated, it is still prone to cause damage. The Gemara considers cases of damage caused by a lion. Shmuel says, with regard to a lion that kills an animal in the public domain, if it clawed its prey and ate it, the lion's owner is exempt from liability. But if it first tore apart its prey with its teeth in order to kill it and only then ate it, the owner is liable for the damage. The Gemara elucidates, if it clawed its prey and ate it, the owner is exempt, since it is its typical manner to claw its prey and eat it. And it is therefore equivalent to the case of an animal that eats fruit and vegetables belonging to someone else. Therefore, it is classified as eating done in a public domain, and the owner of the lion is exempt. But if the lion first tore apart its prey to kill it, since this is not its typical manner, the act is classified as goring, for which an owner is liable even in a public thoroughfare. The Gemara asks, is this to say that tearing apart its prey is not the typical manner of a lion? But isn't it written, the lion tears apart for its young, and it strangles for its lionesses, and it fills its cave with prey and its den with that which was torn apart in Nahum 2:13. The description in the verse clearly indicates that it is the typical manner of a lion to tear apart its prey. The Gemara answers that each phrase of this verse is referring not to a situation where the lion catches prey for its own immediate use, but to one where it provides food for its young. As it says, the lion tears apart for its young to provide food for its lionesses, and it strangles for its lionesses, to provide food for the young cubs in its lair, and filled its lair with prey, and to provide food for the young cubs in its den, and in its den with that which was torn apart. Therefore, we cannot learn from this verse that it is a typical manner of a lion to tear apart prey for its own immediate use. The Gemara asks, but isn't it taught in a brisa concerning acts classified as eating, and similarly in the case of a wild animal, including a lion, that entered the courtyard of the injured party and tore apart the courtyard owner's animal and ate its meat, the owner of the wild animal pays the full cost of the damage? The Gemara answers, with what are we dealing here? This is a case where it tore apart the animal in order to leave it for later consumption. Since this is typical behavior for a lion, the lion is considered forewarned with regard to it. The Gemara asks, doesn't the Brisa teach and ate its meat? The Gemara answers, this is a case where the lion initially killed the animal to leave it for later consumption, but then reconsidered and ate it. The Gemara questions this understanding. How can we know what the animal's initial intentions were? And furthermore, if one accepts this claim, then the ruling of Shmuel is also called into question, and perhaps the case he ruled on is a case like this, where the lion initially intended to leave the prey he killed for later consumption, and therefore the owner should be exempt. The Gemara therefore rejects this understanding. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak said the Brisa teaches two cases disjunctively and should be understood as teaching two halachot with regard to a lion that tore apart an animal in order to leave it for later consumption, or a lion that clawed its prey and ate it. Since each acted in the typical manner of a lion, the owner pays the full cost of the damage. Ravina said, it is a typical manner of a wild lion to kill its prey and then eat it, and therefore such damage is classified as eating. Accordingly, if the damage was done in the public domain, the lion's owner is exempt from any liability. When Shmuel says that an owner is liable if his lion does so, that was with regard to a domesticated lion, and in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Elazar, who says it is not the typical manner of a domesticated wild animal to attack. Accordingly, the act is classified as being the category of goring, for which one is liable even in a public thoroughfare. The Gemara asks, if so, then even when the lion clawed its prey and ate it, the owner should be liable for any damage it causes in the public domain, since according to Rabbi Elazar, such behavior is atypical for a domesticated lion. Why then does Shmuel rule that in such a case the owner is exempt? The Gemara concedes that its presentation of Ravina's opinion is untenable. Rather, Ravina's explanation was not stated in reference to Shmuel's ruling, but rather in reference to the Brisa cited above that discusses a case where a lion causes damage in the courtyard of the injured party. Accordingly, Ravina's statement should be understood as follows. When the Brisa teaches that one is liable if one's lion tore apart an animal and ate it, that was with regard to a domesticated lion and in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Elazar, who says it is not the typical manner of a domesticated wild animal to attack. The Gemara asks, if that is so, since the act is atypical behavior for a lion, it should be classified as goring, and the owner should be required to pay for only half the cost of the damage. The Gemara answers that Bryce was referring to a case where the lion was forewarned. The Gemara questions further, if that is so, what is the reason that the Brisa teaches this among the subcategories of eating? It should have taught it among the subcategories of goring. The Gemara concedes this is a difficulty with this explanation. So basically at the end it just says, yeah, it's difficult. Okay. Anyway, Mishnah. Ma bein tam muad. What is the difference between innocuous and a forewarned ox? The only difference is that an innocuous ox pays half the damage, exclusively from the proceeds of the sale of the body of the ox, so it's migufo, and a forewarned ox pays the full cost of damage, me aliyah, meaning from the higher property, whatever it costs, not just of the animal. Okay. The Gemara says, what does the Mishnah mean by saying he pays the higher property? Rabbi Elazar, what does that mean? What does me aliyah mean? Rabbi Elazar says he pays with superior quality be'me'uleh items of his property. And similarly, and Chizkiah, it says in the verse, and Chizkiah with his ancestors, and they buried him in the best b'ma'aleh of the sepulchres of the descendants of David. 2 Chronicles 32:33. Rabbi Elazar says the term b'ma'aleh means beside the best of the family, and who are they? David and Solomon. The Gemara offers an interpretation of another verse about the burial of the king of Judah, a king of Asa, and they buried him in his own sepulchres, which he had hewn out for himself in the city of David, and they laid him in the resting place, which was filled with perfumes and spices prepared by the perfumers. 2 Chronicles 16:14. What is meant by perfumes and spices? Rabbi Elazar says it means many different types, zine, of perfumes. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani says the word zine sounds similar to the word zinut, licentiousness, and should therefore be understood as types of perfumes that anyone who smells them would be led to licentiousness. The Gemara cites another dispute between Elazar and Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani. Jeremiah requested of God to punish those who hounded him, for they have dug a pit to trap me, and they have set snares for my feet. Jeremiah 18:22. In what way did they dig a pit to trap him? Rabbi Elazar says they cast suspicion upon him of engaging in intercourse with a woman who had engaged in sexual intercourse with a man forbidden to her by the Torah, a zona. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani says they cast suspicion on him of engaging in intercourse with a married woman. Seems to be the same thing. Oh, anyway. Okay. The Gemara asks, similar, not exactly the same. The Gemara asks, granted, according to the one who says they cast suspicion upon him of engaging in intercourse with a Zona. This is because the word pit is used as a metaphor for a Zona, as is written, for a Zona is a deep pit, Proverbs 23:27. But according to the one who says they cast suspicion upon of engaging in intercourse with a married woman, okay, it's different. One's a Zona, one's a married woman. Okay, what reason did Jeremiah use the word pit? The Gemara answers, due to the fact that she is a married woman, she should be excluded from the category of Zona. If she commits adultery, she is also a Zona. And the term pit can just apply, okay, so pit can apply to a married woman too. Okay, the Gemara asks, granted, according to the one who says they cast suspicion upon him of engaging in intercourse with a married woman, this is consistent with the one which is written, you, Lord, know all their plans to kill me, Jeremiah 18:23, by claiming he engaged in intercourse with a married woman, they implicated him in a prohibition punishable by the death penalty. But according to the one who says that they suspected him of engaging in intercourse with a Zona, what did he mean by saying to kill me, when there is no court-imposed capital punishment for doing so? The Gemara answers, Jeremiah was referring to the fact that they cast him into the pit of mire. Rava interpreted a verse homiletically. What is the meaning of that which is written, let them be made to stumble before you, deal with them in the time of your anger? Jeremiah 18:23. It means that Jeremiah said before the Holy One, blessed be He, Master of the universe, even at a time when they try to perform acts of charity, make them stumble by ensuring that they do so with people who are unworthy of charity, in order that they should not receive the reward for helping them. The Gemara above cited a verse concerning King Hezekiah's burial. The Gemara cites the continuation of that verse, and they afforded him honor in his death. 2 Chronicles 32:33. This teaches that they established a yeshiva at his grave to study Torah there. Rabbi Natan and the rabbis disagree with regard to this yeshiva. One said they studied there for 3 days.